What do you enjoy most about behavioral economics, and how did you become interested in the field?
I had a friend's mom tell me before I went back to grad school when I was still a sound engineer. Uh, she was asking me, how you're liking your job. I said, you know what, I'm not really that happy with it. I need to do something else. So she says, don't worry, you'll be doing something very different in 5 years. And 5 years later, I was at Duke University getting a PhD. So I went from touring with large bands as a sound engineer to getting a PhD at a top 10 business school. So yeah, so the way I got interested in behavioral economics was I was in a political science department at Stony Brook University. One of the classes was looking at voting behavior, right? And voting behavior is clearly something that is driven by, it's a decision making, right? It's not an economic decision. It's literally a decision that is based on what do you know about a candidate, how do you feel about their party, it's policies, it's the way they look, are they men, female, incumbent, right? So a lot of attributes about a candidate that influences your vote. And the political scientists were trying to get their head around how you actually made those decisions, right? How did you process those decisions, come up with an outcome? And I realized that a lot of the work that we were reading was from these behavioral economists in business schools. So if you're studying consumer behavior, it's a similar choice to studying a candidate, right? So that, the political scientists kind of made that mapping. So the consumer behavior folks looked a lot at attributes of things like cars and all kinds of things, spaghetti sauce, and So how did people once again process those attributes? And they didn't really care about the things; they were just interested in the processing. And so I got interested in this in what at the time was called behavioral decision making, which is now looks more like behavioral economics, because I was interested in those. How do you understand people's decisions, right? I thought that's like just in so many things in life, right? If you could understand what drives people, you can help them do it better. You can certainly help yourself do it better. In some ways, this is driven by my own, decision-making process and trying to understand that.
Yeah.
And it's just the kind of being able to peel that back and have some understanding of not as economists do, which is what should people do, right? That's a rational actor, right? What is rational for someone to do? It's really around what do people do.
Yeah.
And I love, that's a dichotomy I talk about a lot, right? It's not the prescriptive, it's it's not the once again, the should. It's the what do you do, right? I'm at my core, even though I have an academic background, I like to think I'm a pragmatic guy.
Yeah.
And that's actually the thing I really love about it, right?
Yeah.
Is that it disentangles the rarefied nature of economics and makes it more become more grounded in what we actually do. Yeah, and this is one of these fields that has direct practical approach. I've been in meetings where someone says, oh, we're really worried about the paradox of choice, which basically is when you have too many choices, you basically shut down, right? And I had this experience once before I got my PhD. I was in a Korean market and there were 50 types of kimchi. I was like, I don't know which kimchi to buy, so I walked away. And then later on, I was in a small store and they had one type of kimchi, and I just went and bought it. Right? Yeah. It's funny, right? When I had all those choices, where presumably I could have, tried something new, or I locked up. Yeah. But it was interesting that phenomena is something that I had in my everyday life. And then I was in a business meeting, and somebody was saying, well, we're really trying to manage through that, which is something that the behavioral economists kind of well documented.
Yeah.